Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in the audience, welcome back. Apologies, we had a bit of a balance offense from Scorn's side here. We had 2 firecrackers being brought into the trial, so Scorn have suffered a -2-point penalty off the bat, which would be really, really tough for morale. But as Not Real said in the pre-game chat, now it's fair, and I'm really looking forward to this.
That is one of the most base terms I've ever heard in my life, I think. Just get a -2 and still say, well, now it's fair for Nightlight. He's gonna have to suffer us from now on. But Nightlight, he's pretty savvy on this nurse pick, so I assume he's gonna be quite content with going against these guys on Wrecker's Yard as well. While we see no Shadowborn coming out, actually, surprisingly, Spoker.
Yeah, look, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people disappointed about this, me included, but it is what it is. We've spotted out Karma actively trying to work on this gen and getting a little greedy for it as well, running back but leaving at just the right time to avoid the first set of blinks, and one blink coming out from Nightlight, getting the tag onto Karma, trying to lucky bread over towards the edge map, but it's just not gonna work out. We can hear Yuichi from a mile away, and this should result in our first hook of the trial, as well as some thrilling info.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to point out the thrilling actually coming out here. Not a perk we see often, but can definitely have some value here if he does tend to look around. While it does seem we have a little bit of a visual bug here, we can't really see it. Oh, it's just the same color as well. That's why we can't see it. And I don't know if you also noticed, the chase music hardly started, actually. I do believe there was an audio bug, but that's also a showcase of how fast that chase actually was and how good Nightlight is on this nurse.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dead by Daylight spectator mode is very functioning, and we cannot hear chase music, and we cannot see thrilling tremor auras. We can't see scourge hooks. Just a whole list of things we can't see. But what we can see is our tap is trying to get into position for a save to proc that deliverance. But I think Nightlight is very much well aware of this, and even knows where he is behind that rock there. He's gonna try and blink over to the cancel it. Ooh.
I'm not sure he's going to be able to do. Yeah, he actually is. This is going to be a 50-50 kind of grab. Nope, he's just going to take the trade, it seems. Very, very close that Karma actually went to stage 2 there. So super important that ETR actually gets to use the unhook button there right on time. Yeah, we're gonna, wow, okay, instantly just Karma goes down straight off the endurance going away. But one gen is going to be popped on the other side of the map, however.
Yeah, with this start from Scorn, we know that there's only really going to be 2 survivors that have been actively working on gens, and we also know that if Tap were to be our deliverance player, which, power of hindsight, we know, but Nightlight not so much. We know that the deliverance has been denied with how quick that down was onto Karma, so it's not even activated. So all that time taken to have the deli player positioning for that unhook has just gone to waste, and Nightlight is in a very powerful position.
Oh, he for sure is. And obviously, as you were stating, probably the Deliverance isn't active here for ETR. It shouldn't be, at the very least. DBD is a fun game with a lot of bugs, though, so it might very well still be, because there was a period of time where he didn't get hit Karma, but we just have to wait and see if that is going to be the case or not. Nightlight is of the opinion that it's not, at the very least, because he is really chilling at the moment and letting Karma bleed out here, not going for the second pickup, afraid of that DS coming out of him. And Obi, I think maybe that was a balanced landing play coming out of him, running away, and it's going to be very difficult for him to do anything here. Oh, Karma, I'm not sure if that was an unbreakable or if that was actually just a pickup here from Not Real, but if that was a pickup from Not Real, that has all 4 people accounted for, basically.
I think it would be pretty safe to assume that it wasn't necessarily an unbreakable pickup, as we do normally. Oh, yeah, we just saw Unbreakable on our Ace. So Ace actually went and got the pickup and is now going for the pull here.
Yeah, he definitely is. Here, Sprint Burst coming out of ETR, trying to get as much distance covered as possible. The endurance effect is not going to be there for long, though. It just runs out now. Can he actually find him? The stun comes through, actually. Not something you see every day against a nurse, and ETR is trying to make a run for it. He is on Death Hook right now, so I will definitely assume the Nightlight is just going to push him into a corner of the map and then say bye-bye to this Scorn member. And here it is, comp corner or not, it's going to be the first kill going over to Nightlight already here, maybe even at 4 gens, actually.
I gotta say, it's really weird to see a generator being blocked in yellow at the same time. But yeah, I've noticed that Thrilling Tremors has been very much so more common on some of our S tier killers, and specifically Nurse. It's making its way into the meta, and Nightlight's just showcasing it perfectly here. Got our first elimination. A pop goes the Weasel that we can apply somewhere, and Eruption to fall back on. And also spotting out a Crow flying up in the distance. Here we catch Not Real trying to stealth out by this gen, but gets absolutely caught out.
It definitely does. And like you were talking about, the Crow just told Nightlight exactly where he was. But here we go. 2 gens do pop at the very least. So at the very worst here, it's going to be a 4K2 in favor of Eternal. But I'm not sure Scorn are actually going to be completely satisfied with that. It was a pretty decent early game, but now it's not looking too hot for them.
No, 100%. I feel like Scorn will definitely need to play for getting one more gen done, but as we look at the gens, they're all pretty squished up towards the top side of the map, and our survivors kind of do have to play it a bit slow. And we do actually have Karma attacking one of the gens. Nightlight sees this though and has info, I think, on all survivors now. I'm not sure if we got the spot out onto Obi, but at least we have a good idea of where he would come from to go for that unhook onto Not Real.
Oh, definitely. And you can see that it looks like Nightlight's play right here is just to force the second stage at the very least, and then maybe afterwards go for something. But he does maybe spot Obi, actually. Is he interested in a chase, however? That is the big question. Yes, he is. The blink over the wall into the head. Nothing at all Obi could do about that. And there goes the second stage as well, while Karma is sitting on the gen, still here. Question is, he's gonna go for this. He's kind of in two thoughts, it seems. He doesn't know if he wants to go for Obi or if he wants to go for Karma. Which one is looking more tasty? Both are one-hit downs, but whoever he goes for, the other person has to go and unhook. Not Real, you'd have to think.
Yeah, exactly right. Nightlight, what he's doing here is just sort of holding both of our survivors in a scenario where they can't go for the save and they can't work on the gen either. And Nightlight doesn't make it with that second blink because of the hill, and the Dead Heart gets revealed from Karma. Not going to be able to get the value from it. The Firecracker gets thrown, and this should be a down onto Karma.
It is, definitely. And Not Real does get unhooked here. Karma comes in with the dab, but it just doesn't mean anything. I'm kind of certain that Nightlight maybe actually shortened that one because he was expecting a Dead Heart. It looked like he was swinging from quite far away, but Obi and Not Real, what are their plans here now? Can they even go to get Karma? Because this generator is the most progress one by far, I would have to assume. And it's nothing that they can work on right now because you know the Nightlight, he's going to set up camp right over here at Karma.
I see that they've prioritized the reset onto Not Real, and I think Obi might have been the one spotted out. No, never mind. We catch out Not Real as well, trying to sneak away. And Nightlight go for a really, really nice flick at the blink. Overblinking a little bit too much on the second one, though. We'll try and go back for Obi before the rescue can happen, as I believe that's where Obi is positioning for right now. Actually stops towards closer to the top, forcing Nightlight to sort of blink out for that cutoff, sorry, and doesn't quite catch him just yet.
Doesn't catch him just yet. However, Not Real does actually just go for it instantly, and we don't get a hit here this time around with the double blink. Question is, can he go for Not Real, or is he just gonna go for Karma? I don't feel like any of them are actually particularly safe in this situation. Yeah, you have Shaq, but that doesn't matter. It's a Nurse. She's just gonna blink around it every single time. But here, Nightlight thinking about going to check on the gen. Is Obi around here? That is the big question. Yes, he is. And Spoker, I don't think he has any way of getting out of here, Spoker.
Unfortunately, I don't think so either, and that's going to be Obi up on the hook now, with Not Real and Karma both injured and afraid across multiple parts of the map. I would have to assume that they're either meeting up for a reset or trying to get some pressure on this gen, and that's exactly what we see Karma doing. We know that Karma has Dead Hard. We know that's something we'd have to play around, but Ace actually going into position for the save whilst being on Dead Hook. This is quite ballsy from Not Real.
It is definitely ballsy. The question is if it's going to pay off or not. I feel like Nightlight could just go after Karma here because he knows that is the generator that has the most progress on it at the very least, and he might just go for it here. Nope, he's actually going to be completely content with just applying the pop eruption onto this generator. Goes down. Not Real does get the unhook onto Obi though, and Nightlight playing this one out very, very patiently, Spoker.
Yeah, no, it's one thing that Nightlight is absolutely renowned for is the patience, but not quite getting that down onto Not Real. They're really nice set of blinks, but not quite able to follow it through. And at this point, I think we're just going to be committing to Not Real here. As we know, our poor Ace is dead on hook. And there it is, that down onto Not Real. But are we going to slug for more as everyone is still injured and some gens are getting somewhat close to being completed?
Yeah, definitely are. We did have both of them on the same gen, it looked like, actually. Karma and Obi were actually on the same gen, so they're not splitting the pressure. They're actually just sitting on the same gen from what I could tell, unless my eyes deceived me. Karma is pre-running, though, however, and not really actually getting up here. We did see the Unbreakable on his perk list, so that is something that is going to be used this time around. Karma, beautiful Dead Hard coming through. This time, it is going to give him value. Does mean that he has to mend, though. Does mean he has to waste a little bit of time doing that. And once again, the eruption applied this time, though, with no pop, since Not Real wasn't picked up. And Spoker, it looks like Nightlight is actually feeling the pressure a little bit in this game. What do you say?
Yeah, I think the tides are definitely starting to turn a bit here towards Scorn, but we do need to remember that in this scenario, I think it's only really going to be possible for Scorn to get one more gen done. Ooh, all right. We see Obi's going to be doing a bit of inner healing and getting a health state back, which is really, really nice. We also have, I think, not working on another gen, but Obi being very, very impatient and quickly vaulting out of the locker right in Nightlight's face is going to have to take a chase and try and make it away from the active generators. But it's so tough to do when the locker he was healing in was right near the first progress gen.
Definitely is. This is going to be a hit. It is going to be a down. Obi is going to get onto the hook once again. Question is if Nightlight is going to lose a generator for this or not. If he does, 4K1 doesn't sound as good as the 4K2. Just got to say that. I mean, yeah, it sounds very five-footed of me to say, but there's such a big difference between getting that last gen or not. But Karma has been found here. No Dead Hard to be used this time around, it looks like. Can he find Not Real before he gets the generator done? It's on the way opposite side of the map, but I feel like Nightlight can get there. It is Nurse after all.
No, and as you say, Not Real pre-leaving the gen, we just know that it's not going to be getting completed, and Not Real has a very, very tough task, and I think disturbing that crow has just alerted his location to Nightlight, and there it is. We catch out. Not Real is going to get yanked off the pallet, trying to go for a reverse stun, and once we collect our final slug on Karma, that will be the 4K2 set in stone.
Definitely will, and that also just means the survivors, they have an easier time, most definitely. First of all, if they can just get one person out, that is already amazing, and if they can do 4 generators, that is also superb for them. They have a really good win con, I feel like, Eternal, coming into the next game, or the next trial, sorry. What are your thoughts here on the game that we just saw, Spoker?
Honestly, Nightlight put out a really dominant performance, but Scorn actually did a really, really good job at bringing it back and having some gen pressure and just doing everything they can to turn this 4K2 into a 4K1, because we also need to keep in mind that with the -2 point deduction that Scorn received earlier, it's just going to make the win con even tougher. So we'll just have to wait and see how things go in the next trial after a quick break. Alrighty, welcome back in everyone to the Wrecker's Yard, where we're going to be seeing Vlas on the killer for Team Scorn with a very, very tough win con to have to play for. But funnily enough, we are going to be seeing the exact same build that we saw Nightlight running on the Nurse just earlier as well. Checking around the edge map on the right-hand side here, trying to spot out some survivors early on. But I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if Eternal are just sending people over to the non-crop gens as quickly as possible. But we get a very quick chase onto Bubba to start things off.
Yeah, we definitely do, and question if his Bulbasaur actually is the player that they want to get chased on, because he was kind of just in the open there, it seemed like, and maybe not the person to have the deliverance, but maybe has the D-Strike instead. Time will only tell here, and meanwhile, Dan, Nightlight, and Pedro, you can bet that they are on generators here. And we do actually spot Bulbasaur once again. Firecracker not going to do anything, so it's just a matter of time before the M1 comes through, and there it is. Another down goes down for Nurse, and kind of the same pace that we did see Nightlight get his first down from, it seems.
Now we'll just have to wait and see. Vlas, I think, should be able to get this hook in a fairly good position. We did hear people working on this generator just earlier, and we see people leaving as well. We see that Thrilling Tremors has obviously blocked a few of these gens here, and we know where to take our pop, which is really like why I really like, how Thrilling Tremors and Pop Goes the Weasel synergizes so well together. We see Dan, who was previously working this gen, trying to take the chase over to the pallet here, but a beautiful blink from Vlas to get that tag onto Dan. Unhook has come through onto Bubba, and a gen has gotten completed in the distance as well, all within the same moments.
Yeah, definitely. But that is everyone accounted for, however. So no one is working on a gen as of right now. Babazar is going to run for his life, and you can bet your money that Dan is going to sit on that generator that he was on. And there we go. Babazar goes down. Does he have the D-strike or not? It shouldn't matter too much against the Nurse. Let's see if there's any time to be had. Nope. Babazar is not going to use it this time around at the very least. If he does have it, maybe holding on to it for next time that he goes down. But as of right now, I think Eternal are just banking on the fact that Babazar wasn't their Delhi player, but if he was, it's going to be kind of a problem for them later on here, because Vlas, he's sitting kind of pretty right now.
Yeah, honestly, this isn't the worst position to be in at all. We see Nightlight working on a gen, and our Survivors resetting, Pedro resetting Dan, sorry, so not the most in gen pressure as of right now. Nightlight's gen probably going to be the most progressed after this Pop Goes the Weasel comes through, as well as that eruption in the back pocket to confirm a little extra aggression once we get the next down. Now Vlas checking up on the hook once again. We see Nightlight's gen hitting about the 70% mark. Should be popping in a bit. Oh, actually, Pedro has a gen with a decent amount of progress as well. That's 2 gens that could be popping for the price of 1.
It definitely could. Question is if they're going to try to go for the unhook here on Babazar, if they're just going to be fine with having him sacrificed. It does look like he is just going to go to the Shadow Realm. I don't feel like they can do anything about this at all. Dan, we did see he had the D-strike, so he's the one trying to take aggro right now. Meanwhile, Pedro had the Deliverance, so there's another play to be had over there. 2 gens pop right now. 1 more gen is all Eternal need to win this game, and after that, they can be sacrificed altogether, and it's gonna be set 1 going over to Eternal, and all of a sudden, it's not looking too good for Vlas and Scorn, honestly.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, with that point deduction from the last game, that's going to be the win con already being obtained by Eternal. Obviously, opting to get those 2 generators done as opposed to going for the rescue on Babazava, but still having a survivor there to pressure it just in case to sort of entice Vlas to stay around that hook. So really, really well played by Eternal on the survivor side to confirm that set point. But we'll have to see how Vlas plays out the rest of this trial here, as a 3v1 versus a Nurse can always be very, very scary. But this is a really tough gen split looking at it now. Yeah,
I was going to say that he has gens on opposite sides of the map. I don't feel like there's anything he can actually do about this gen split. He is going to lose one at some point. Dan, however, is going to take the chase this time around. Question is, how long can he actually keep the chase going for? I mean, yeah, he can go to edge map, but that's about it. It is a Nurse after all. And yeah, Dan is probably going to do a little bit of a pointers here into the corner and say, yeah, you got me. But at the same time, if we look at the other side of the map with Nightlight and Pedro, they should be working on 2 separate generators, maybe even. And if that's the case, they can even get a 2-man escape here and just let Dan sit on the sit on the hook real pretty, because they don't need to have 3-man escaping here.
I think Pedro's just gotten the call that Vlas is blinking over towards the other side and pre-leaving that gen potentially to go for a rescue as well. Nightlight committing to get this right-hand side gen done. And we do find Pedro's gen, not Nightlight's. We're conflicted as to where to put our Pop Goes the Weasel right now, as 2 gens are so close to being completed. Very stressful for Vlas, but we are going to spot out Nightlight here, using the life at the Z-wall to make as much distance as possible, but Vlas is just going to make all that distance right back up in a moment and get this chase onto Nightlight, who has Lucky Break, as it seems to be.
Yeah, definitely does seem to be Lucky Break. Pretty underutilized perk, in my opinion, actually. Gets you to win chases that you normally wouldn't. And yep, here you can see exactly what it is that confuses people about it. No scratch marks, no blood. Where did this guy even go?
And just like that, magic trick from Nightlight absolutely disappeared. And yeah, all we really need to be worried about is the noises that we're going to be making while in We know we can't make that second blink, forcing the fatigue and then going for another chain of blinks here. But with Pedro being on that right-hand side of the map, those gens should be getting done. But a good blink from Vlas to get the down onto Nightlight. And I think we see Dan working the left-hand side gen as well.
Could maybe be the case. And yeah, here goes the fourth one at the very least. So only one more gen. Yeah, Dan was actually on this gen right over here next to where the chase was. He's going to try to escape from here. But no D-strike coming out of him now, obviously, since he did do a conspicuous action, unfortunately. So question is, if Dan is going to meet up with Pedro and try to just get a reset going, and maybe they can go for something afterwards, Pedro would probably be the one. And here we go. The last gen has also popped. And yeah, Eternal are just sitting very pretty to get a two-man escape here. And I feel like Vlas is probably just going to camp this out. He doesn't really have the biggest reason to try to go around and find new survivors.
Oh, well, speaking of the devil, though, we are going to catch out Dan. We see those pools of blood and the scratch marks. We see Pedro opening the door over on the right-hand side as well. I don't know if Vlas is going to be able to catch up with these blinks and admits defeat, and that should be enough for the two-man escape from Team Eternal, with the final result being 7 stages and refresh.
Yep. Never got Pedro, unfortunately. Nightlight and Babazar are the sacrificial lambs, but that is completely fine against the Nurse. To get a two-man escape is just beautiful, and you can see exactly why it was Eternal. They wanted this Nurse pick. They're so comfortable of getting a 4K, and they're so comfortable in actually getting the escapes as well against this S-tier pick. So honestly, just beautifully played here by Eternal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The final scores from that set being 43 points to Eternal and 21 to Scorn. So a very, very tough loss to the first set for Scorn, but the good news is they're going to be going into their pick of killer right after a quick break.
Welcome back, everyone, to DBDLeague Eternal versus Scorn. We have Obi on the Mastermind, aka Weskin Time. Eternal are playing their survivors, and this set of perks look kind of familiar here with the Brutal Strike coming out as well, though. A little bit of a chase-oriented build, it looks like, and he already has his eyes set onto Pedro, and he does get the Virtual Bound onto him, and that's an infection that's going to take a little bit more time to get rid of later on. Willing to play this tile, though. It is kind of a difficult one to deal with for Wesker, but he does actually have the Beetle and the Unicorn Medallion, so a little bit extra leeway here on the first down, as we can tell. Question is if this 50-50 mind game is going to be in his favor or not. No, Pedro's actually just going to run instantly, and it looks like Nightlight was Dan actually coming here for the save, and is going to take one hit. Pedro does, however, get into the mending state because he did get pushed into him. But overall, maybe not a bad idea here for Eternal, Spoker. I don't know what you think. Pretty decent early game.
I don't know if you saw what I just saw, but Claudette and Ace, the synergy that we just saw between Pedro and Dan. Pedro pre-dropping the pallet after Dan saved his light at the main building, just for Dan to then use the lights right afterwards. I just really liked that synergy between those two there, but unfortunately Dan is going to be taking this down and going to get hooked into the basement right off the start. Not even going to be going for a pain res hook, which should sort of lead me to believe that there's not really that many pain res hooks towards the top side. But yeah, Eternal Survivors still showing their strength, but this first hook obviously has been so quick, and we might even stop this first gen from getting done.
Yeah, it looks like this gen at the very least is going to stop being done. Another one is going to pop towards the shack side, though, and Nightlight is now in chase. Pedro did get rid of the infection, now needs to maybe get a reset off or just sit on a gen. That is their decision to make, obviously. Beautifully done here by Nightlight, and he is actually just going to leave him, maybe. A little Pepe Loser moment coming in here. We love to see it. Love to see a little flashbang on top of the generators. It's always a good time, but I think it looked like Babasar was actually the one going for the unhook here on Dan. That must mean a deliverance play is going to come through here. And now Dan needs to be super, super careful. How long is this endurance going to last? He's actually going to pick up Babasar instead, and I'm not sure if that's what he wanted.
Oh, that's so nice. The Jewel Beetle value coming in so strong here. Getting that throw onto Bubazava. Light is going to come out from Dan. No V1 taking here, unfortunately. But Dan, being the tunnel out now, is greeting the pallet even and making another wrap around from it. Still continuing to greet it. I'm sure this is going to pay off for Dan, but the medium
Disappoint
vault
me.
is going to
Is that
set
the
his
best
fate
you've got?
in stone. I believe Nightlight would have gone for that pickup and full reset onto Bubba. And Pedro has been working on this gen on the right-hand sides. Wow. The pacing of this game is just insane.
It definitely is. And here, actually, Pedro is going to be found and still in the injured state. That means one hit or one virtue bound, whatever it should be, is actually just going to be enough. That tree was in a super unlucky position. If that's not there, she is 100% down, Pedro, but is going to be taken down anyways with the M1. Unfortunate that it's not an M2 because you really want this slowdown to come through so you can get the 8% hindered. If they do, just ignore it. As you can see here, Dan is now fully hindered, so needs to get rid of that at the very least. Maybe not needing to get rid of the injury. And here you go. Dan is getting rid of it. And one gen over here, one gen behind that. Doesn't really look like the good 3-gen setup that you would like here around the basement, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's really, really unfortunate. Oh my goodness, a beautiful set of dashes, and Bubba's going to get tossed once again and forced to run around this backside of the main building. I never really thought that the Jewel Beetle could get so much value on the coal tower, but here we are. And we follow it up with the tag and the down onto Bubba. And we see the reset as well. Another beautiful set of dashes, but not quite landing through onto Pedro. We had our first sack of pain res being used just earlier from our last survivor. And this is looking like it could be another as well. No, but not after we get a tag onto Pedro, though, at the very least, for our troubles. No, we're going to go for the hook
I'll
instead.
see you dead.
Is going to go for the hook instead. 2 gens have been done. Dan must be sitting on a gen on the opposite side of the map as well, on the south side. But Pedro is now going to take chase. He should be kind of fine with that. Nightlight also in the area, though, was on this generator. And I feel like it's just a matter of time before Dan is either going to get the unhook or a gen done on the opposite side. And whoever is left over here could do vice versa. Pedro now, however, forced to run into the area where Babazar is. And Nightlight also just running away, so it is just going to be a kick on the gen. No pop even coming through here, so it's just going to be the eruption proc, and it's not looking too good as of right now here for Obi, I feel like, Spoker.
Yeah, no, I feel like Eternal have been doing everything in their power to keep the chases as strong as possible. There's just always been a chase happening every minute or so, and in the distance, our survivors have been working on these generators and trying to keep the gen split in mind as well. Ovi trying to go for a cheeky switch of target here on back onto Bubba, but not gonna be happening. Pedro probably being able to calm that one out, and we do see, oh, not quite being able to make it to Bubba. Still on his last legs here, but Ovi can't even commit to the chase, as we're gonna lose some gens if we. And yeah, there we see Nightlight jumping off the hill and what I presume to be a balanced landing to make some distance. No, not even.
Nope. Actually didn't look like that was even the case this time around. And I gotta correct myself as well. I didn't notice the main building gen hadn't been done. Actually, I thought that was one of the ones that have been done. So he does actually have a decent 3-gen situation. Oh, with the flashbang coming through, and that means no virtual bound available. If you didn't know, if you are blinded, you cannot use that M2. But yeah, once again, the 3-gen situation not looking too bad around the main building, which is exactly what Obi actually wants. Now, maybe looking a little bit better for him. Can he, however, get this down onto Dan? No pallet, but he is going to hit the wall instead, and the life play coming through from Dan. He's going to create so much distance, and this is exactly where he wants to get chased. But maybe not this fast here. Pedro trying to take a hit, but not going to be the case. Eruption goes through onto the hillside gen, and now switching positions onto Dan. Onto Pedro is going to get tagged here, and that is probably enough for Obi to solidify Dan onto a hook. That was close. That was close. A little bit better. You might have seen the blind actually come through. Oh my god, 2 gens just popped at the same time.
And that was also adrenaline onto Pedro as well, who's obviously being very cheeky, trying to get the killer's attention here, going into the end game, which worked out so well in favor of Eternal here, just to get those last gens done. We see Nightlight over by the shack, and our survivor working on the door as well, already good to go. Nightlight has to take the chase at the shack though, drops the pallet. Dan gets rescued just across the map, and our survivors should be able to make it to the door from this, unless Obi can make a play with the door beetle.
Oh, okay. We see actually Dan willing to take the hit. I'm not sure. Does he have off the record? Is that why? Not really certain what else it could be. No, he's just he's just fine with going down for his teammate, I guess. I guess he doesn't want to give the fresh hook of Nightlight over. That is all that I can really think that it could be, but Nightlight should be completely fine. Hits absolutely nothing, but that doesn't matter. I think Pedro is fine to just take the damage for him here. Question is, will Dan be sacrificed, or is Bulbasaur actually over there and picking him up? If they can get 4 people out, that would be insane here coming out of Eternal. That would make it such a good win condition, but no, it is going to be 3 people with all the generators done coming out, and it's going to be, I believe, 5 hook states, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 5 hook states in total, so pretty decent win con here coming in for Eternal when they are going to play the killer here in the next round coming up, Spoker.
Yeah, so 17-13 is the score from that first game, and Dan taking that down in the end to ensure that none of the fresh hooks got caught in the end game was another really, really nice play by Eternal, which was lovely to see. But with that being said, we'll quickly set up the next game right after a short break. All right, welcome back, everyone. This time to the Cold Tower, where we're going to be seeing Nightlight on the Wesker to potentially secure the second set point for Eternal, depending on how Nightlight plays this out. Our win con, I believe, for Eternal to win would be about 6 stages. And we're taking our first chase onto Not Real over towards the bottom right-hand side of the map. Life Play coming out to get over towards the shack. Unfortunately, this is our non-corrupt side of the map, though, so Not Real needs to be really careful with where we take this chase and looping back to where we were earlier.
Yeah, and like you said, this is the non-corrupted place, so definitely doesn't want to be here. It does spot out Karma, though, and does get the flick on here at the Eurobend at the end of it. And yeah, Karma has the right idea. He needs to go into the corrupted side and needs to go down over there if he is going to go down, and it's probably just a matter of time here. But once again, we see the same play coming out that Eternal was actually doing, with someone coming and taking a hit, so it's not too early for them to actually go down. And again, Not Real inside the non-corrupted area is going to be the one who's going to get chased here. Brutal Strength coming out for the little extra kick pallet speed. And can Nightlight find him here? He can actually zone him at the very least. Can he make it here into the shack? And yes, he can. The pallet stun comes through. He is going to take the window. I don't believe the light is up yet. And yeah, Nightlight is probably not going to be too happy about this taking this long. He should have been dead by now, he feels like. He is going to get him here at the window, though. No doubt about that. Nice little jump there, actually. He did get the fast vault from a very awkward angle, but unfortunately not enough from Not Real. Is basement here? Nope, it is not. So let's see if we can find a Penrith hook instead. So the second gen, at the very least, doesn't proc as fast.
And I think we see a survivor just pre-leaving this gen that we're taking our hook towards. We get that stack of pain res coming out, and we've also gotten the reset onto Karma. We have the rest of our survivor team healthy and free of infection, but we spot out ETR trying to position for this save nice and early. And we also see another set of scratch marks from our, I believe that must have been Felix, if I'm not mistaken. But 2 survivors close by to the hook lets Nightlight know that there's probably only 1 person on gens as of right now. No vault from the tap. Really, really well played. And it's actually David who is going to be pressuring this unhook here.
Definitely is, but can he force the second stage here? He does get the infection hit onto Karma. That means Karma is definitely going to go down really fast, unless Not Real actually wants to try to take a hit. Nope. He says he doesn't want to be the one who is tunneled out here, and another fresh hook is going to come down onto Karma, and things are not looking too hot here for Scorn. ETR playing the chase super well, but unfortunately, Karma forced into a situation that he did not want to be in. But again, that should be another pain rest hook, so that's a lot more time coming off of that generator that I believe Obi is working on the other side of the map.
Yeah, we're just going to have a quick look here, and we see Not Real working on a gen as well as Obi with a decent amount of progression on a hill gen. Nightlight sort of playing a little bit further away from the hook now, knowing that there's going to be some pressure on the board right now from the survivors, and that gives the window for our survivors to get the unhook here. And we do spot out, I believe this is Not Real's gen, who's going to be caught at this TL here while being hindered, and that hindered is just going to cost him everything. As the eruption comes through, we see the scream, and this will be second stage for Not Real, and a little bit more aggression and some info as we see the reset from the eruption.
Yeah, and this is Problema's team here for the side of Scorn. Honestly, I mean, Notreal already being on second hook stage. We do see the gen being done, however, and Karma hasn't been able to get healed just yet. I don't know if they used the spray first, but usually you would prioritize the heal over the spray. And yeah, Karma's just gonna go down instantly again. Does he have the DS? He does, actually. How long can he last before he goes down again? That is the biggest question that is going through their mind right now. And it's not even 5 seconds, I believe. Karma just goes down instantly. Nightlight just has his number.
The D was slapped and the spots were not checked. Unfortunately, that's going to be the second hook once again for Karma. We see some info on Notreal getting sprayed and reset over towards one of our right-hand side gens, but in Scorn's defense, they've at least done a decent job at trying to break any potential 3-gen setup, which can be very, very crucial in the early game. But at this point, it's just gonna need to be as fast-paced as possible, getting gens done for the people coming out from ETR, and not gonna quite be able to catch up to Karma just yet. But this hindered is gonna tick away and eventually come to bite him in the rear end.
It definitely is. Can he do the 50-50 here? Oh, I think Nightlight forgot that that pallet was actually already dropped here, but oh, he does miss the second charge coming through, and that's going to give Karma a bunch of distance into the main building, and this is not where he wants to be, Nightlight. He recognizes this and goes back here onto the gens that he knows are perhaps being worked on the other side of the Master Smoker, and we do see a skill check being missed here. You know what that means?
If it means what I think it means, it's that ETR is going to be the one caught out over by this bottom side and still injured from that For the People play earlier. The broken only just now expiring. Nightlight just needs to zone ETR out here. And oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say the bloodlust was just too much there. It came in at the perfect time as well. ETR not really anything he can do. He is going to be the 5th stage, by the way, coming in at 3 gens still standing. So this is not looking too hot for Scorn. They need to just do every gen from here on out and get the 3-man out as well. And honestly, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a task that they can actually manage, Spoker.
yeah, I think as the game is progressing here and Nightlight is hitting all his shots and getting all those grabs, getting to 5 stages here with a fresh hook survivor, up on the hook. Oh my goodness, and the throw as well onto Obi. The 3rd gen gets done, but Obi's not going to be able to make as much distance as you would really want with that throw. And there's no pallet here, so that's just going to be a grab. The short wall window could not be vaulted quick enough, and with that 6th stage, I think this will confirm the set point for Eternal, but only if we get an elimination. Oh, yeah, it's a fresh hook as well.
I was gonna say he needs to get the pain rest stack on, and that is exactly what he did. ETR, also the guy with Deliverance, it seems, because he is broken once again. He just does not like to heal, it seems. And yeah, he just needs 1 kill from this point on, and he has targets galore. He has Karma he can take out. He has Notreal he can take out. It's not going to be that big of an issue for him to get someone tunneled out of this game as soon as possible. And honestly, just hats off to Nightlight. He's played a tremendous amount of killer for so long, and you can see it's paying off here for Eternal. The Euroband maybe could use a little bit more practice.
I don't want to get too critical of the gameplay here. Nightlight has been playing this one spectacularly, and we see the unhook onto Obi trying to get around with the dash, but not quite being able to yoink up Notreal here. I like what he was going for there, but survivors are just too coordinated for that one. And with both of our Deadhook survivors being healthy right now, it is a little bit tougher for Nightlight to get that elimination. As we see the spray, we see Notreal.
Yeah, we do, and he is going to get smacked into the wall. He was trying to do some funny shenanigans there with a little bit of hitbox magic and try not to get hit. Is he going to get vaulted into here? Yes, he is. I mean, it's kind of a 50-50, but at the same time, if the Wesker is just patient enough, he can always win that 50-50. And yeah, the kill comes through onto Notreal. He is sacrificed. That just means 100% GG's over to Eternal. They have taken the set 1 and 2, and they are victorious on the day. Now we are just playing for a little bit of pride here on the Scorn side. Can they get the 3-man out? How are they going to play the rest of this game here, Spoker? They need to try to find something to get a little bit of, what do you say? Not attitude.
Morale.
Yeah, morale. Exactly. Thank you.
Finishing each other's sentences and sandwiches. That's what I'm known for. But Nightlight does have a fairly defendable setup here on the bottom side. Gens obviously are a little bit split up, and we see our survivors are having some problems trying to rotate in to work on these gens as we spot out 2 survivors over by this double window tile leading into the main building. And this should be a tag. Oh.
Should be.
And we only have the 1 dash, so it's not going to result in a tag. And Karma greets the pallet, and Nightlight's just going to drop chase and go back to the gens here. But really, really well played by Karma in that chase.
Oh, exceptionally played here. Can Obi do the same, though? That is going to be the big question, because they need more time here to get the last gen done here. And yeah, Obi's going to get smacked into the wall. This is just going to be a fast 2-tap. There's nowhere for him to run at all. This is why people love to run the Jewel Beetle. Here, beautifully done. Karma coming in to try to take a hit, but it's not going to be the case. He's actually going to get auto-aimed into the wall. Instead, he's trying to bend around. Doesn't quite manage to do so. Karma, however, is completely fine to be taken out of the trial as well, but they are still trying to work on a single generator somewhere. And surely it's not this one. It has to be one on the other side, because I feel like this one doesn't have that much progression for it to be. Obi is going to go down, and the eruption does go through as well, unfortunately. So maybe they won't even be able to get that generator done, Spoker.
I'm definitely starting to agree with you here. If we get a second elimination, at this point, we should be able to stop these gens from popping. And we see ETR even trying to commit to the gen. Our survivors playing so aggressive around this final gen. And they get it done. Adrenaline from Obi as well. Hook is going to be able to get away from Nightlight's clutches here. And David, Karma over on the right-hand side should be our next one in chase here. And Obi and ETR both healthy, should be able to rotate around and potentially get a 2-man escape.
Potentially a 2-man escape. Karma here, the only one left behind. It seems as if he is just going to be the second sacrificial lamb. Nothing at all he can do about that. We actually do see the spray coming in from ETR instead of just prioritizing the get out card option instead. And I'm not sure if that's the correct play. Yeah, they're probably just at the gate waiting here. Yeah, unfortunately, Karma is going to be sent to the Shadow Realm. That is going to be the 2-man escape. Most likely, I don't believe there's anything Nightlight can do about it, but still, a better result for Eternal overall than Scorn, and that is all that matters here today.
It is nice to see, though, that we saw Scorn getting some outs here in the Mastermind set, but as stated, Eternal going to be taking this one with a score of 39 to Eternal and 26 to Scorn.